All right, so Irina is going to be my fitness model for this evening, which is perfect because she just subbed and was the fit coach trainer for Melinda's boot camp. So she knows all the substitutions. But when we're doing this, I'm going to go through and teach you while we go about the common things that people fuck up on and what to look out for. So we're just going to, you'll figure it out as we go. So we're working out, but then I'm also teaching you what to look for, what to say as far as coaching, and then also she doesn't need any real alterations for the exercises, but I'll make a note when people do. So we're going to start with a little bit of a warm-up. This is just usually like a 2 to 4 minute warm-up that I do with my group, and we just literally do the same thing every time. They know the formula. You just start out jogging, and so it's going to be about 30 seconds. Where's very important, especially when it's this cold outside, that you get people to get the blood flowing through their bodies. So even if they say, no, I'm fine, let's just work out. No, you're not fine. There's no blood flowing through your body. You have to actually get the blood pumping through your muscles before you can appropriately use them. So it doesn't matter if they say they're fine, they're not fine, make them do it. Second, so most common hamstring tears, hamstring injuries all the time. Low back injuries, low back spike, usually it's from the hamstrings. So everything that we're doing is getting the blood flowing through the legs and then stretching out the hamstrings a little bit, getting the hips moving so the knees don't get fucked up. So when people's hips are tight, then they'll put too much weight in the knees. When they don't actually get the hamstrings warmed up, then they'll pull a hammy or pull their low back. So these are all the things that you have to have in your head as a trainer and a fit coach. And then it just looks like you're like, so tell me about your day. Jog in place. All right, tell me about your day. Let's do sumo squats now. We're going to do sumo squats now. So these are all the things that you have in your mind as a trainer and as a fit coach. And when you're training a group session, nobody can actually have fun unless you have control of the room. So everything that I'm going to be teaching you is to keep control of the room. So then everybody can actually have fun and everybody can have a good time. So it looks like a giant party in here when I have all the girls and everybody's chatting and everybody's talking, but it's because I know what to look out for, and I've done this for 17 years at this point. So I know how to maintain control of the room, which also includes looking out for people that might be turning white in the face and are on their way to puking. So we'll cover that also. Hands behind your head, good mornings. For newbies, when you're teaching them, you're going to have to instruct them, keep the legs straight, but also keep the knees soft. So nobody needs to hyperextend a knee before they even get started. Yes. So this is a really great exercise to warm up the hamstrings, like I said, and then also the low back. And it feels really good. So a lot of times people, the first time they do this, they're like, oh my God, this feels so good. Yeah, that's why we do it. It's your body saying, hey, those are really tight. You need to loosen those up. All right, back to jog in place. Yeah, so you'll need a couple minutes, really get the blood flowing. The way that we also designed the workout, starting out with the legs, starting out with the squats, and not in a super intense version. It also serves as kind of like a intro into the warm up. You never will just want to start somebody up hard and heavy. So small warm up, you can warm up sets to get into games, and that's what you always want to do. If people show up late, don't let them just jump into things either. Back to stackers. Yeah, so on the subject of pukers, so Irina's been a client for like as long as I've been a trainer, pretty much. But if you have a new client, I always tell people, bring a Gatorade or a Powerade with you. Eat throughout the day. Don't eat right before you come, and then you'll want to be sipping on that Gatorade or Powerade for about the first month while their body's getting acclimated to working out and getting into a more fit state where it can break down fat cells and break down all of the different fuel components. When their body isn't fit enough to do that yet, it's like, oh, hold up, we're not ready. And it makes them feel like they're going to vomit. So that's the body's going to say, slow down, slow down. Feet out wide, do my squats again. If they get all the way through the workout and they feel like puking on their arm crunchy, like when it's bag, that's a win. She's like, I feel like puking as she's crunching. And I was like, that's totally fine now. You're going home after this. Made her a shake, send her out the door. I'll see you tomorrow. Guys, you have to watch their ego because they'll act like they're not about to puke, and then you'll see their face. You'll see the pink start to leave the cheeks first. Do you need a Gatorade? Usually they'll say no. Then keep your eye on them because then the face will turn the next shade of white. And then they'll usually say yes to the Gatorade. If they still say no at that point, then I just kind of back away and keep my eye on them. And then the next step is they run out the front door and puke in the bushes. And if they have their keys in their pocket, they might get in the car and go home also. That's happened. Feet out wide. Good morning. Make sure you're squeezing your butt at the top, hips forward. I've seen it all, man. Do they come back? Not in that case. Oh, no. Usually after they puke in your daffodils and then get in their car, they're a little embarrassed to come back. But they got in the car the first one. I'm like, I gave you 3 warnings. You took me out of them. This is on you at this point. So you just want to do everything you can as a trainer to facilitate them having a good time. But if you give them all those warnings on Gatorade and they keep none of them and then they go puke in your powers, that is not your fault anymore. And they will admit to it at that point. I'm like, this is not my fault. They're like, I know. I'm like, I did 14-year-old puke water the other day because he forgot to eat lunch at school. He came out of the bathroom. I was sitting with my feet up. I was like, what did we learn today? He was like, sorry. People are real quick when there's vomiting involved. All right, but what we are going to need for today's workout, you are going to need a heavy dumbbell for your sumo squats, a medium dumbbell for a split stance stiff leg overhead press, 2 of those medium dumbbells for a squat hammer curl, probably the same medium dumbbells for alternating side lateral raise. And then those same medium dumbbells can also be used for tricep kickback. So when I plan workouts for, especially a group boot camp that a lot of people are going to be doing at home or virtual after the fact on the video recording, I usually try to limit the amount of resources that somebody's going to need. So for this workout, we need 1 heavier dumbbell that's just used for our sumo squats. And then our 2 medium dumbbells that there's no changing dumbbells along the way. Just 2 medium dumbbells. We're doing everything else with those. And then we have our step. So, that understand? All right. Yeah. All right. So 1 dumbbell right here. We're doing sumo squats. The way this boot camp is going to work, we're going to superset a dumbbell exercise with a step cardio boot camp exercise. We're going to go back and forth, A, B, A, B. Then we'll go down. And then after we do that, then we'll go back through A, B, like all the way down. I'll explain. All right. Dumbbell right here. Sumo squats. Instructions on this. Dumbbell right here at the chest. Keep your chest up, butt down, weight back in your heels. Big set. We're doing 30 seconds here. And go. Now, if somebody cannot actually maintain proper form with the dumbbell, take it away from them. So unless somebody can actually do proper body weight form on an exercise, you don't get to add weight to it. So if somebody's struggling or they're saying their back hurts while they're doing the squats, their back needs to get strengthened just from doing body weight squats. So that's okay. No dumbbell for them. Just let them go through the motions. Body weight's going to be enough. Then when they get to the next fitness level, then you can add an 8 or a 10-pound dumbbell. And cut. All right, then put that down. We're going to be doing a step up and then a back leg kick on this. So leg doesn't have to be completely straight, but it's mostly straight. It's not a butt kicker like this. So legs straight out, engage the glutes. We're doing 30 seconds. Get set. No dumbbell in the first round. Second one will show how to increase the intensity, and you can do it with the dumbbell. And go. Yes. Yep. Just step up, kick backwards. Yeah, so I do know it's a more advanced person, so I'm going to be showing I'm going to be showing not only the modifications for someone if they make things made easier, but for her in particular, I'm going to be showing the modifications to make something harder for somebody to. So all of these different workouts and all these different exercises, they can be made applicable to pretty much any intensity level and any person that could be in your session. Good. All right, grab that dumbbell. We are going back to our sumo squats here. On this one, to make it harder, just increase the weight. So we have a 35-pound dumbbell over there. We want to make it even harder, give her that. Get set and go. But also keep in mind during a workout like this, like it's about the entire workout. So you don't need to like prove that you're a great trainer by killing somebody on the first superset, because they have to make it through everything 3 times. So keep that in mind too. This is more of, it's not an endurance workout, but there's an endurance aspect to it as far as the muscles go. So if Irina was just bar squatting 135 pounds, 25 might seem like nothing, but for her, it's appropriate for this kind of workout when you look at the workout in its entirety. Cut. Okay, now keep that dumbbell. Now keep it at the chest, and we're going to do a step up back kick with that dumbbell at the chest. Get set. Go. Yeah, there is. Yeah, perfect. This also adds a balance challenge for her, which is going to make your abs work harder. So when there's a weight and it's on the top half of your body, your core has to work harder to keep everything balanced. So that's another functional training aspect of this. 5 seconds. There is music playing in the background. There is dance if you can hear it. So a good fun music for your group. Good cut. But I'm speaking a lot today. So, okay. One of your medium dumbbells. So we're going to be doing a split stance, stiff leg overhead press. Because I'm short, I'm going to demonstrate on the step like a platform so you can see me. So one leg in front. I always tell people, you're not on a balance beam. Get them a little bit wide apart. So about hip width apart. But then a good split stance. We're doing a stiff leg, but that does not mean lock the knees. It means straighten the legs, keep the knees soft, get a really good stretch in the hamstrings, and then come up and overhead press. So we're going to start with the left leg in front, dumbbells in the right hand. So again, stiff leg down, nice and soft, overhead press. 30 seconds on one side, then we'll do 30 seconds on the other side. Yeah, get set, go. Yes, good. Common thing that people do here to fuck it up. Like I said, they'll either completely lock their knees out and it literally looks painful. It looks like they're going to hyperextend a knee, or they'll turn it into a deadlift where they squat down. And so again, instruct them, keep your legs straighter. So this is an exercise where it's a little more advanced as far as form. So you might have to walk people through it and just kind of like step them into it. But pretty much everybody can do this. Switch sides. Again, they shouldn't be like struggling like they're in a strongman contest. So just make sure it's a weight under that. And go. Now, if you're in a group session and a guy, for example, thinks that he's in a strongman contest, as long as he's not hurting himself or hurting anybody else around him, or the dumbbell's not going to go through the wall, just let him do it. You're going to get in all kinds of situations with people's egos, and you just got to let some shit go. It doesn't matter if they're not listening to you at that point. Their ego is going to be their ego, and you're just here to make sure they don't get hurt. Good, cut. All right, step up kickers, modification for this. Hands down, the non-impact version is just going to be kicking your heel one at a time, making it harder, running in place. All right, 30 seconds. Get set. Go. Yep, Irina's doing the full-on version. Our pregnant lady was here today. She'd be doing the modification. No, she wouldn't. Oh yeah, well now she's at the point where she'll get about 20 seconds in and then have to modify for the last 10. And she has this like, oh shit, look on her face. Like, yeah, really? I have to modify now? Fuck you, baby. Yeah. You have pregnant people in your session and they've been working out way before they got pregnant. They can continue working out accordingly with their pregnancy. And cut. All right, medium dumbbell again. Back to your right leg. Wait, left leg in front, dumbbell in your right hand. Good split stance. 30 seconds here. And go. Good. Yeah, the main thing on this, after people get the legs down and they're not locking out their knees, you just have to make sure they don't hit themselves in the head with the dumbbell. That's really about it. Also, when you're watching somebody, especially if they're new, watch the wobbliness of their arm. And so Irene has a 15 right now. If I have somebody that's new, I will go over and prepare a 12 for them and just bring it over and set it down. And it works. They're like, thank you. I'm like, no, I know. I was watching you. Switch sides. And then also just explain to them, like, this is now a drop set. Like that's great. That was burnout at that way. Now we're just going to drop it down. So get set and go. So especially with muscle failure, especially with new people, I always have to reframe everything as a win. Like, this is a win, but your muscles just failed and we had to drop weight. So always reframe things because people will, I don't want to say try to make excuses, but always try to excuse their behavior. Like, oh, I used to be so much stronger. I used to be in such better shape. You're like, oh my God, I'm so wimpy today. And it's like, no, that's good. Like for today, we're always going for muscle failure and you prove muscle failure. Therefore, that's a total win. Okay. Butt kickers. So again, that's part of psychologically and emotionally controlling the situation. So nobody's crying or running to the bathroom crying in the middle of your session. So that's a mood killer right there. Butt kickers and go. And that's happened to me before. So trust me, I want to cut that off while we're still ahead now. If somebody comes out with big alligator tears and like their face is like that ugly cry face, and you're like, okay, this is awkward now. There's 18 other people in this room, but we're going to pretend like you didn't just go in the bathroom and cry. What do we do with this? We have to have a little chat afterwards. 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Good. Your 2 medium dumbbells again. I'm up on my platform. Or not when you're actually doing this. Dumbbells right here on the side. Squat down, keeping the chest up. Dumbbells go out. Make sure you're pressing the knees out. Do not let people do this I have to pee dance while they're doing their squat. No knock knees. It will literally damage your knees. Don't do it. Don't let anybody do it. Not on your watch. So knees out, squat down, and then hammer curl up. Hammer curl is when the wrists are facing in. And so this is a really easy transition. Squat, and then right into a curl. This is also another good one for newbies because they can use a little bit of the momentum on the squat so they can handle a little bit heavier dumbbell. Okay, get set. And go. Yep. Yep, good. And for newbies, it's okay if they don't go all the way down to their squat. Irina's been trained as a powerlifter at this point, so she goes powerlifting low. But if newbies just go halfway down, that's okay. Let them do that, at least initially, especially if they have bad knees. But then just start gradually working them a little bit lower on their squat. 5 more seconds. And cut. Good. All right, we are doing step jacks next. The modification is hands down, tap it out side to side, or dump it out, literally jumping jacks with the feet, hands are on your step. Get set and go. And as you can see, all these different modifications and ways to do things and all of the different coaching and training tips, it's so easy to do when you're teaching a boot camp on Zoom and virtual, whether you can see the people or not. So these are instructions that I give all the time on repeat, because you can never say, get your ass down enough on squats. You can never say, press your knees out. You can never say, squeeze your glutes at the top enough. Those are just always good reminders to throw out, no matter who you're training and what kind of group. Good. Also a good way to talk to yourself and act like you're not talking to yourself. Fills up space. All right, back to our squat and hammer curl. So think of it almost like a cooking show, like how like they're telling you what they're doing the whole time. Think about the way that you are training yourself in front of a boot camp Zoom session, like you're hosting a cooking show. Right? Yeah. Get set and go. And like was that kind of the most, I remember when I first became a trainer and I was hosting a group, like whether, okay, we didn't have Zoom back then, but anyway, isn't that kind of like the weirdest part where you're just like, hi, I'm up here. What do I talk about?
Is it just explain every single thing I'm doing step by step?
Exactly. And it feels kind of awkward at first, but then you got feedback that everybody was like, thank you for modifying that.
Yeah. Thank you for walking me step by step.
Yes. Okay. Yes, exactly. So yeah, that's literally what people want. Like it feels awkward, but it's literally the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Hands down, jumping at the feet out. Again, either tap it out or jump it out. Get set, go. You're also going to be repeating yourself a lot as a trainer, and it's going to become normal to you. So just like I just said, the modifications again, be prepared as a trainer to repeat modifications almost every single time you do something. It doesn't matter that you just did it last set. Say it again. Somebody wasn't listening. Somebody doesn't know what you're doing. And then the more fun and social your group get, the less people are actually going to be paying attention to you anyway. So you're going to have to repeat yourself ad nauseam. Right, Irina?
Yes.
And cut.
And then people will be correcting each other.
And then people will still be like, huh? What? No. Then they'll be like, no, you're doing it wrong. And then make sure nobody's here. All right. 2 medium dumbbells, side lateral raise. When you are doing these, first of all, don't let anybody's hand and dumbbell go above their shoulder. After you pass the delt, it changes which delt is flexing, and we don't want to do that. So we want to keep the top one engaged all the way up, and then as a negative all the way down. So we don't want to use any momentum, and we definitely don't want to go into like cheerleader pose. So keep it right under, keep the elbows slightly bent. Don't let people do straight arm, stiff arm. Keep it slightly bent. And as it gets harder and harder for people, they don't have to go as high, and the elbow can just bend a tiny bit more. All right, so we are doing alternating side to side. Again, if the dumbbell's too heavy, people start doing weird things like this. Don't let them do this. That's not an exercise. And go. Yes. Yeah. So Irina has very long external arms. So that is if you remember, like 5th grade science class, the farther away the item is from the center point, like lever style, the harder it is. So 15s are great for her, and it's super challenging for her. Somebody with shorter, more stocky arms might be able to handle 20s. If you're a cyclist like him, you can handle 25s. Irina, her long limb exo arms, she's perfect at 15. Good, cut. Okay, next. Getting the heart rate up. Again, you can do this with the dumbbell in the center. We're doing a side step up, hike the knee up, down, rotate, hike the knee up. If somebody has bad knees and they don't want to be twisting side to side, they can just do a step up, knee up. The reason your knee's going up to the side is it's getting the hip flexor and the side oblique. So straight on is not working those same muscles. Make sure it's going up to the side. You can do it with the dumbbell. Irina is advanced, but she's doing it with the dumbbell. Because after we do powerlifting, then you have to start adding more weights to everything you do. And go. Yes, good. Yep, again, if you have somebody with bad knees, bad balance, just take the twisting the side to side part out of it and just keep them straight on. Good, halfway through. 8 more seconds. So again, get comfortable talking to yourself. Get comfortable giving people time updates. Good. Back to alternating side lateral raises here. All right, get set and go. Also, don't be afraid to get candid about what's hard for you. A lot of times trainers think that they need to be like perfect on everything all the time. And if you're actually training yourself hard and you're training, you know, more than 1 day a week, you're going to have days where you show up and you're like, oh my God, my legs are so weak today because I did legs yesterday and everything feels so weak. Don't be afraid to show that transparency because it's not weakness. It's literally like, I just kicked my ass yesterday and here I am today. Okay, cut. Back to step up. with the knee pull. So a lot of trainers, they almost get like a performance anxiety about like, oh my God, I have to perform for my clients. Oh my God, like my clients are lifting heavier than me. Should I be embarrassed about that? No, you shouldn't. Get set and go. Second of all, there's a certain reality that you are sharing with your clients about the realities of training. And so as a master's athlete in powerlifting, and I'm training for USA Track and Field, this is something that I've had to understand a lot more in terms of your body's still growing to like 25. There's a shit ton of human growth hormone being produced, and your body can recover a lot faster. What does recovery mean? Because that's the buzzword that gets thrown around quite a lot. And cut on that. Okay, hold on. 2 medium dumbbells. We're going to be doing tricep kickbacks. Now, hold on. I have to show you the horrendous one that people do on triceps, and you have to actually see my arms. So, my number one pet peeve when people do tricep kickbacks is that they get a running start all the way from here, all the way to here. If you are downhill skiing, this is not a tricep kickback. So you're not doing a bicep curl and then using the momentum to go into a tricep kickback. It's right here. Tell them, start like this, pick your elbows up, and then just straighten the arms and let them go back to hanging. Straighten, they go back to hanging. There's no running starts. We're not doing that. So form for this, as long as people don't have a bad back, bend in half, bend the knees, stick the glutes out, keep the back straight, pull the shoulder blades back, elbows up, and then just kick it back like this. So it's a very simple thing, but triceps are all about control. It's not about how much weight you can throw around. And now it's 19 degrees out, so I'm putting my jacket back on because I'm not the one working out. It's hot. This one's all heated up. When you're a trainer, you don't get to have the heat blasting in the winter, so be prepared to wear lots of sweaters. That is true. All right, tricep, elbows up, no running starts, and go. Yes, good. Okay, so recovery is your body's ability basically to turn around and perform again. So even if you're not super sore after a workout, you're not going to be at your strongest 24 to 48 hours after you work a certain muscle group. So just understand that, because when you're in sports and you're growing up, you play your sport every day. You go to practice every day. Some days you're a little sore. Some days they give you a break before the game or whatever. But you don't really think about the need for recovery because you recover in like 2 hours and then you're fine. Good. Cut. Step toe taps. This one is going to be the most modified. You can either march it out, tap your toes up like this, or jog it out, tap your toes up. This is the one where Stacey will still be trying to run, and then she would have to stay down. All right, toe taps. Get set and go. So recovery is actually needed for peak athletic performance. And you really have to respect that reality as a master's athlete, as really anybody who's not in college anymore. Halfway through. 10 more seconds. So that is why 14-year-old boys in their sport in high school can work out for 3 hours in the morning, 2 hours at night, and then do the exact same thing the next day and not feel a thing. Cut. Back to tricep kickbacks one more time. I was trying to do that for track training, sprinting every day at the track. And then when I finally got to national championships, I could barely fucking walk and my feet were killing me. So yeah, I learned a lot about master's athletics. Tricep kickbacks. Get set. Go. Yes. Now, there are certain things you can do to help speed up recovery. Doing cardio the next day or a light workout is one of those things. Epsom salts, doing massage, things like that will help get that lactic acid out and speed up the recovery and get the inflammation out faster. So when you're working out, you're carrying a shit ton of muscle fibers and then they have to rebuild. That process naturally causes a lot of inflammation. Good. Back to toe taps. So inflammation is counter to recovery. It's counter to fat burning. It's counter to weight loss. And so we're doing something that creates inflammation, and then we have to get the inflammation out so we can continue to our goals. Toe taps and go. So that's something that unless you respect that process, like respecting Mother Nature and respecting the weather, you're just going to be constantly like fighting against it and ignoring a very natural biological element. Where when you take the time to learn about it and then have respect for that nature, then you can actually get to your goals faster and in a more healthy way. And then you can be a master's athlete for your entire life. And cut. Good. All right. We are going back to the beginning. One dumbbell, sumo squats here. One dumbbell. So now we're going to go through everything one time through. And then we'll do abs at the end. So the whole goal of you being a trainer and training people that are not just like high school athletes, get set and go, is to teach people how they can be lifelong athletes. So that's one of the mantras of USA Track and Field, the Masters Division, which I love. They're literally teaching people how to be lifelong athletes. And so there were 90-year-olds at the championship still competing. But I was just completely in awe of these people that have managed to not only compete and keep their body in such great athletic shape into their 90s, but do it in a way that they still enjoy doing it. So good cut. Alternating, step up, kickbacks. So the process of working out, the process of breaking your muscles down, the process of training for something new to compete at, it should all be an enjoyable experience. Get that? And go. I mean, doesn't Irina's face just like completely enjoy right now?
All of them at home were like, what is this? They quit.
She did a whole powerlifting workout today. I had a shit ton of mobility and balance and weird stuff for her, and her face is still this joyful right now. But you're here.
Oh, I understand.
To give people a good experience, and in the process of tearing their bodies, you're here to make sure that they can do this for as long as they want to do it. And good. So you're here to facilitate the longevity of their exercising, not just like fucking their muscle fibers up so that their butt looks good. Okay.
And it does look good. I get lots of compliments on my butt.
That's true. That's a byproduct.
It's great.
And by the way, this is the one that lost all of her baby weight and then some in 4 months to get ready for a photo shoot. So yeah, there's some vanity involved. Okay, split stance, stiff leg overhead press with the dumbbell. Again, no locking out the knee. Keep that knee soft. Be nice to your knees. And go. You want to be a master's athlete into your 90s? Be very nice to your knees. Good. And by the way, never let it deter you when somebody says they have knee problems or they've had knee injuries. Pretty much everybody after the age of 25 has some kind of injury that you have to work around. That's nothing. At that point, it becomes like, how can we not ruin other joints? How can we keep everything as healthy as possible? Good, switch sides. And go. And you're there basically to do prehab on them to make sure that, like Irina, you don't have knee problems, right? Yeah. So Irina has no knee problems. So our goal is to keep it that way. So I'm going to be strengthening all of the muscles around her knees, strengthening her quad muscles, making sure that her glutes are taking the majority of the load on leg exercises, and also strengthening her hips. And that's the plan. Make sure that she never has knee injuries. And cut. Good. Step butt kickers. So hands down on the step. Again, either slow-mo version, non-impact, or running it out, kicking your butt. You got it set? Oh, yeah. And go. Usually I don't actually give drink breaks to people, but just have them have their water bottle. Now, if it's somebody and it's a one-on-one session like Irina, like she needed to rest before the third round of supersets that we did. And so I'll say, okay, grab a drink, rest for a second. So that's kind of like a pause in our one-on-one workout. But just let people get drinks when they want. I don't really take pauses in group sessions because there's enough natural pauses with people talking and just shit happening. And cut. So no need for additional pauses. Keep the ball rolling. All right. Dumbbell squat, hammer curl. Also, just coming out, if you're teaching a group and you're not doing the entire boot camp in front of them, where at Melinda's boot camp, she does everything in front of them. I like to come out. Sometimes it's just like the sign language version. And people are like, oh yeah, I remember we just did that. So always come out, demonstrate, just kind of like be the physical leader and show. And then that makes your job easy. Get that? Go. Yes. So as much as Melinda will be here doing the entire workout, I find I push people harder, and I like to be more of the social facilitator by not doing the workout with them. But I'm never just like standing off to the side, like not involved. Like, I'm like, yeah, do some more of those things. Like, you don't want to look like that trainer. And if I have my phone, because I'm like, is so-and-so coming late? Like, don't be on your phone the entire group session either. Good, cut. Step back, hands down on your step. Again, either talking it out slow-mo or jumping it out. As you can see, I've gotten very good at talking to myself, and I can literally talk to myself for a full 40 minutes. I'm just at this point. Get set, go. But it is a weird thing. And when you're in a group and you don't know them and people are just staring at you and you're like, do you think I'm funny? I don't know. Am I entertaining you? I don't know. And then at some point, one day it clicked with me at Body by Todd. I was talking to like 3 really boring, like no feedback giving people. And then I just decided, I don't care. Like, you're really boring. So at least I'm less boring than you. And I was like, I don't care. I'm going to have a good time. And cut. Good. 2 dumbbells, alternating side lateral raises. But usually if it's a group setting, like usually the people will know each other and they'll all be talking amongst each other. Otherwise, there will be at least one person, hopefully not that day in my life, but hopefully there's one person that can kind of like, you can have conversations with and will kind of like facilitate everybody else getting involved. So if there were other people here that were mute and Irina was the only one here, I'm going to demonstrate what that looks like. Get set and go. So I know Irina, obviously. So I'd be like, so is your baby feeling better?
Am I supposed to answer you?
Yeah, you can answer me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, stuff that everybody knows.
Yeah.
But aside from that, at least there's no more fever.
Yeah.
Off.
So then if there's other people, I'd be like, oh my God, she has the cutest baby. He's 1.5. He's freaking adorable. He's been taking music lessons. And then they would like at least smile because I'm talking to them, talking about babies. Everybody's got to smile about babies. And then Irina would proceed to tell some story about music class. And then they would be nice and start to get engaged. Good, cut. So you do kind of have to pull people into your conversation sometimes. All right, this is the alternating step up knee pull. So side step up, knee pull for the hip flexor, knee pull for the hip flexor. So sometimes you do have to be kind of the social facilitator. People won't just like make friends and like interact with each other. Sometimes you do have to like, it's like group speed dating. You're like, okay, you talk to you. Okay, oh, you both have kids. Wow, let's talk about that. It's that we're both go. Yeah. Yeah, but that could also be a bad thing. If you also on your base plate and not goes in it, then she can feel bad about it. That could be a landmine right there. But again, maybe I want her to feel bad about herself because she can get the rest of the day. So hopefully you know your audience and you know the people, but if you don't, then just be friendly and facilitate conversation. And if they hate the workout because they hate working out in general, that's not your problem.
You had to interfere with Katie. She had to almost step in a landmine with me blowing off on her. She's like, isn't that a little bit too young with Nikolai potty training?
Oh yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you like saw my face because I'm like, I was biting my tongue.
Good cut.
And you were like, no, she has done research.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll just smooth everything over.
You're like,
all right, tricep kickbacks. Tricep kickbacks.
you have to also know how to diffuse bombs.
You have to know how to diffuse bombs. If somebody's not reading the room and they're saying things that are firing the fiery Russian up. Good set. Tricep kickbacks.
Don't anger the Russian.
And go. I'll make that side come out. All right, then you need a little more tuck down. Yeah, here you go. Good. Yeah. And even the most advanced clients, when they start to get wore out or when they get distracted from talking,
I'm wore out.
she's wore out because I kicked her ass before you guys even saw her. Yeah, form corrections are totally fine. So I form correct everybody. Sometimes I need form correction. That's what we're here for. And cut, but step toe taps, again, the non-impact tapping it out, running it out. Tapping it out. Woo! Failure is winning. Get set. Go. Yeah, her cheeks are red in a good way. She has good pink and red in her cheeks. She is wore out today. This is good. And that's exactly where when people start to feel bad about that, she's not feeling bad, but I'm just saying, if people start apologizing for being in that state or apologizing because they can't run it out on the last set, then you need to make a big deal like failure is winning.
I've been at it for an hour and a half.
Yeah. And just literally say, that's awesome. That's exactly where I want you to be. So that's something I say all the time to people. Get cut, we're going to go down to the floor for abs. I always reassure them and say, that's exactly where I want you to be. Especially if I have to take heavy dumbbells away and give them lighter dumbbells, I say, that's exactly where I want you to be. That's what I was going for today. Going for today. So make sure they know that this is part of your plan. Like they're not failing at life. This is literally part of your winning plan for them. Because at all times, you're the one that knows how to get their body in shape. You're the one that knows how to get their body more athletic, ready for a competition, get their weight down, get them into their goal jeans. Like you literally know this shit. You know these things, and you have to reassure them that you are getting them to their goals every single step of the way. This is all part of the plan. We are getting you to your goal. This fatigue right here and this failure is making you stronger. This is exactly what I wanted to see out of you today. If I didn't see this, I would have been giving you heavier dumbbells. So all of that reassurance is, no, that failure is winning, and I know what I'm doing. All right, on your back. Okay, so we're going to do 5 sets of 25 crunches. This is the typical way that I end my workouts, my one-on-one workouts and my group workouts, unless we do some other crazy version of abs. We're not doing that today. All right, so let's start out with one leg straight up, one leg straight out on the ground. So this is going to work the lower abs and that lower oblique more than other types of crunches. Both hands are behind the head, and then she's going to crunch up and twist over towards that straight leg. And go. So we're just going to do 30 seconds here so I can keep talking. It ends up being about 25 crunches. Common ways that people mess this up. First of all, they'll smash their chin into their chest and they'll do like neck crunches. No. The way you correct that is say, hands stay on your head, keep your chin up to the ceiling, don't let it touch your chest. And then you say, don't pull on your head. So if people are not strong enough in the abs, they'll start pulling on their neck, and you don't want to do that. So make sure that they keep looking up to the ceiling. Good, cut, switch sides, chin up the chest, and they don't have to come up very far. And go. And then as their abs actually start to get stronger and their core actually starts to really engage, then they'll be able to do the proper form without pulling on their head and neck. So a lot of times when people can't do the proper form, it's not that they don't know, it's that certain muscle groups aren't strong enough. So always just, okay, that's what's going on. Now, how can we modify this and take it down a notch so you can do the proper form? And then when you can do that properly, then we can take it back up a notch. Good. Legs down on the ground, Indian style. If somebody is under the age of 20, you have to say crisscross applesauce because they literally don't know what you're talking about. Irene and I are the same age, so we can still say Indian style. Hands behind your head, crunch up, go. So again, 30 seconds here. Yep, Irene has good crunches. Abs are also something that people will just go from point A to point B in an exercise, and it takes most people a little while for their abs to actually like turn on and do something. And then they wonder why they don't have visible abs in the mirror. I'm like, well, they weren't there. None of those muscles were doing anything. First step, we had to turn them on. Now they can actually start working to make that bikini body if you want. Cut, both legs straight up in the air. If you want to make these harder, you can grab a dumbbell and go. Again, over baby weight after 4 months, and she had a C-section. So her abs are now the fittest and the most shredded and defined that they've ever been. And she has been using dumbbells to make this shit harder ever since. Oh, yeah. Confidence for the win. 5 more seconds here. And cut. All right. Last step, we're going to do bicycle crunch. I like to put this one last or second to last. Sometimes I'll end with legs down Indian style. That's everyone's favorite, by the way. I don't know why it just is. Bicycle crunch, this is the one that people find the hardest and they'll mess up the most, mainly by pulling on their head and neck. Irina is going to demonstrate the right way to do it. Get set, go. All right, so she's running her nice long Russian legs in and out like this. She is bringing the alternating elbow to the alternating knee, and she is not pulling out her head. If somebody is not this coordinated, don't ask them to do bicycle crunch. There are people that just are not allowed to do certain exercises on my watch. Fine. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Good. We're going to do a couple stretches. All right, so winter time, everybody's wearing a ton of clothes, less mobility on all the joints, hips and backs get really tight. People are not walking outside as much. They're sitting on their couch more. Take that into account. We are going to start with angling the camera down. Okay. We're going to start out with I did legs yesterday. Hurdler stretch, runner stretch. So one leg straight out, the other foot is coming into your inner thigh. Start with arms straight up, turn towards that leg, one hand goes down on either side. So the goal here is to even the hands out and touch them evenly. And then after you can do that, you can walk it forward and eventually get your nose down to your knee. I feel this in my opposite hip. I feel it in the actual hip joint pinching, and then I feel it up through this oblique. Some people will feel it more in the front hamstring. It just depends on where you're tight. People will also round their back. The first goal, if they're in this position, is to get the back straight. So get the back straight, whether that means stretching out the hamstring or letting this release. First goal is straightening the back. Then they can start to walk it down. This is not doing anything. This is not a real stretch. We're not doing the sit and reach in school. You're not trying to get anywhere with this. You're trying to literally stretch out your back and hips. There's a difference. All right, switch sides. Again, stretch it up. Turn. One hand down on either side. Woo! Yeah.
Do you feel it in your opposite hip or do you feel it in the hamstring?
Yeah. My hips are always tight. Doesn't matter what I do. I can do the splits and they're still tight.
Supposed to be putting it out that far?
Well, it has to do a lot with so there's a lot, especially with women, there's a lot of variation in hip alignment. And so that's something that you're going to get more familiar with the more people you train over time. And you'll see it come up in the way that they squat. So not everybody squats the same. So this is something that we really saw live and in action with the girls powerlifting, because there's so much variation in girls' hips. What? You feel it more on that side? Yeah, so not everybody is going to look the same on squats. There's a lot of variation in hip, ball and socket, femur size, width of the hips, all of that placement, turnout, all of that's different. And then it's going to cause different feelings and stretches too. All right, feet out in a mild straddle, arms up, put them down and then just walk it out. This is going to stretch the hamstring on that inside spot and then all the way down into that knee. So this is usually a part that's really tight on people and they don't know how to isolate and stretch that part. This will get it done. Each stretch like this, when you're stretching after you're warmed up, after a whole workout, going to hold everything for about 30 seconds or so. If you're really working on increasing flexibility, you might hold it a little longer. All right, then last thing for the legs, we're going to go into just a regular basic tight stretch. I like to move the hamstrings and glutes out of the way yoga style. Just get everything loosened up a little bit, stretch all the way up, and then just hang over your toes. This is also a really good one. Just let your head and neck hang and stretch out the whole back of the neck area and upper shoulders. Again, stretching doesn't need to be forced. It doesn't need to be pulling anything. Just let your body melt and use gravity to get certain muscles a little bit more flexible, a little bit more lengthened. Work those knocks out. Just let gravity just kind of melt your whole body down. Good. All right, sit up in whatever is most comfortable for you. Take one arm up, lift the elbow, and then lean over with it. So this part alone is stretching out the tricep. This part is stretching down all the way through the lat, and your lat actually goes in and connects at the middle of your back, and then your obliques start. So this is a really important area to get stretched out. And how often are you doing a movement like this, especially in the winter with all the big coats on? So again, just stretching all those spots, getting your body moving in these directions. Switch sides, start with the tricep, and then lean it over, up through the hips. Couple deep breaths here. Good. All right, we are done. That's our first experience doing a group Zoom boot camp workout. So yeah, that's how it goes. And then I'm just going to be teaching more as we go. Workouts will get a little bit harder. We'll add in more advanced modifications and then always be showing you all of the non-impact modifications. So these things can be applicable for anybody. All right. If you guys have any questions, message us. Otherwise, we will see you next week. Bye, guys. Good workout.